Welcome to GoShindig.com. Today we will be reviewing the Blackstone 22-inch tabletop griddle. We are excited about this model from Blackstone and we're keen to share with you the unboxing and testing of this great bit of kit. This isn't a sponsored video, I purchased this griddle myself. I'm sure we all know that barbecuing has long been one of summer's favourite pastimes around the world. You could argue that it started when humans first cooked meat over fire 1.8 million years ago. Fast forward to today, and the availability of quality outdoor cooking equipment at reasonable prices has come a long way over a few short years. And one area of great growth in particular is the griddle marketplace. For many years, barbecue enthusiasts would have bought a separate griddle plate to place on their standard barbecue or over a fire. I have several such griddle plates and would still recommend them to people who will not griddle often. But if you plan to griddle regularly, I'd 100% recommend getting yourself a standalone gas griddle. There is no better place to start than with the market leader and their tabletop griddle, the Blackstone 22-inch griddle. Blackstone is a company that seemed to come out of nowhere and quickly became the leader in everything related to griddles. And the great thing about Blackstone is that they are always trying to innovate. They have several different size griddle models, ranging from their cornerstone 36-inch griddle, launched in 2008, down to a 17-inch model. They even have a griddle with a built-in air fryer. Along with all these different Blackstone models, they also have every conceivable accessory a griddle fan could ever need. So, if you buy anything with a Blackstone label on it, you can be assured it's coming from one of the experts in the field. The question for us to answer is, does the Blackstone 22-inch griddle match the quality of their other griddle models, and how does it stack up compared to similar griddles from other brands? Let's get started and review the contents of the box. The griddle itself is packed neatly in a sturdy, robust box with almost everything you need to get up and running. The only extras you'll need to get yourself cooking is a 1 pound bottle of gas. The instructions also say you'll need an adjustable wrench, but I found it was okay to tighten things by hand. The contents of the box includes the following: the griddle body. This section of the griddle is the brains. It consists of the piezoelectric ignition system, the H burners, and the connector for the gas regulator. The griddle top. This is the brawn of the unit, made from a single piece of rolled carbon steel which is durable and corrosion resistant. The griddle top also has a small hole in the back where the grease cup goes. Also included is the gas regulator. You get a threaded brass regulator connector that fits a 1 pound gas bottle. This is fine if you intend for the griddle to be portable and taken along on activities such as fishing trips and tailgating. But if you plan to add this griddle to your backyard barbecue setup, I'd recommend also buying the Blackstone propane adapter, hose and regulator for 20 pound tanks. Blackstone also gives us a handy grease cup and foil tray. Something so simple yet so important, a grease cup. This little addition to the griddle makes cleaning and maintaining your cooks so much easier. And Blackstone does this better than most griddles with their patented large opening for the grease cup at the back of the steel top. This has been well thought out in the design process. This positioning safeguards the user as you are pushing hot grease away from yourself. Many other griddles have the grease tray at the front, and the openings aren't large enough for food debris to pass through. And lastly, the griddle feet. Nothing fancy about the griddle feet. You get 4 rubber cone-like feet that will grip to any surface quite well and stop the griddle from sliding. One improvement that could have been made was have the griddle feet slightly adjustable, so you could have a level griddle top even if the table or surface you were cooking on was a little bit wonky. Setting up the Blackstone 22-inch griddle couldn't be simpler. The hardest part is to tighten the 4 nuts to install the feet, which is something most people could do with their eyes closed. You should do this with an adjustable wrench, but if you don't have one, hand tight should be good enough. Once the feet are attached, simply place the griddle top onto the body. The griddle top is a solid piece of rolled steel, so it isn't light, but unless you are frail, you shouldn't have any trouble. Of course, if you're worried, get a friend to help you lift it into place. These first two really easy steps are the bulk of the setup. Now just hook on the grease tray and connect the regulator and you're ready to fire up the griddle. This whole setup shouldn't take more than 2 minutes. Seasoning the griddle. Whenever you get a new grill or griddle, the first thing you want to do is fire it up and test it out on one of your favourite cooks. Unfortunately, with most griddles, you'll have to rein in that excitement a little bit and first season the griddle plate before use. If you've bought a brand new griddle, then it's come straight from the factory, so it's best to clean off any debris or oil that might have been left from machining the griddle plate. Wiping with a damp cloth should be enough. Now you need to heat up the griddle plate. Ignite the griddle to a medium heat and then slowly turn the knobs so that both burners are on high heat. Wait until the griddle top starts to discolour before repeating the following steps 3 to 5 times. Stop when there is a noticeable sheen on the griddle top. The heating of the griddle top should take about 10 minutes. Step 1. Add a tablespoon of cooking oil onto the griddle. Today we are testing out the Lodge seasoning spray, which is just canola oil. Step 2. With folded paper towels and a pair of tongs, spread the oil over the entire surface of the griddle top. Step 3. Allow the oil to heat until smoking occurs. This is when the oil bonds with the griddle and creates a non-stick surface. Depending on the types of food you cook, this first seasoning should be enough and you'll never need to re-season. But if you do find food is starting to stick, just repeat the process again and you'll be good for many more cooks. Temperature ranges and hot spots. The two main tactics Blackstone implements to minimise hot spots are having a really thick rolled steel griddle top that helps disperse the heat better than a thinner griddle top, and their H-shaped burners that heat a larger area at the same time. These H burners work much better than a single strip or circular burners that other griddles implement. Do the tactics implemented by Blackstone eliminate hotspots completely? No, but I have never seen a griddle that has eliminated hotspots completely. There is always some disparity between the centre or the area under the burner and the outer edges. However, what the H burners and fixed steel does is reduce the temperature difference across the griddle tops more than any griddle unit that doesn't have these elements. Zonal grilling. There are times, like when cooking loads of smash burgers, when you want the whole griddle top to be the same temp. But there are many other times where you will be cooking several different items where you'd much prefer to have different temperature cooking zones. For example, a fried breakfast. And with Blackstone having two independently controlled burners, you have this option. Some quick observations I've made. If you test, you might get slightly different results, as outdoor temps, humidity and wind will all play a part. If you need an extra heat zone, another great option is to buy a warming rack. You'll be able to find many online, but as this is a Blackstone 22-inch griddle review, I'll give a shout out to the Blackstone extendable warming rack. So, the observations. If you have one burner on low and slowly turn it to max and the other burner turned off, these are the 2-zone cooking temps you can expect to work with. Size and portability. Blackstone has a range of griddle sizes and they normally inform you of the width of the griddle top in the unit's name. The name of this unit is the Blackstone 22-inch griddle, so obviously the width of the griddle top is 22 inches. But more importantly, you'll probably want to know the total grilling area, as this dictates how much you can cook. The total grilling area is 339 square inches. The 22-inch griddle is deemed a portable griddle, but I'd say it's on the heavier end of portable griddles. I bought my one about a mile from my house and decided to walk. By the time I got home, my arms were pretty pumped and I would have needed a rest if I lived any further. So, the portability of the griddle is great if you are RVing, tailgating or car camping. But if you are taking it fishing, for a picnic or to a camping site that is a decent distance from where you can park, you might be better with a smaller griddle. There is definitely no chance of you taking the 22-inch Blackstone hiking. build quality and value. The griddle plate itself is absolutely solid. I'm sure you could throw this off a mountain and it will survive unscathed. So I'm 100% sure you will not have any issues with the griddle plate. The body of the unit feels a little light, some might say flimsy, but there isn't really any need for it to be any heavier. This is a minimalist bit of kit that has one job, to get the griddle plate hot, and it does this with flying colours. And with any item that is made to be portable, there is always a trade-off between being lightweight and being robust. As for value, this could be the pound for pound champion in my setup. I see this griddle becoming a weekday warrior when I haven't got time for a long cook. Safety. This griddle runs on gas, so you'll have to take all the standard safety measures when cooking on gas, and other basics such as keeping children and pets away, and don't move the griddle while in use. One thing people don't realise when buying a quality griddle is how hot it can get. When it comes to searing meat, this is a big positive, but on the safety front, this can be a negative. This high heat cannot simply be contained in the griddle, and it will spill off into surrounding areas. This means any plastic sauce bottles or cooking utensils placed close to the griddle risk melting. A safety feature you'll only need to carry out once is checking for any burrs on the metal edges. I'm sure Blackstone will have some sort of quality control in their factories, but with any machined metal, it's best to check for any sharp or jagged edges before using. My last safety tip is to get an instant read thermometer. Griddles are great for cooking small bits of food fast or for searing meat. They aren't the best for slowly cooking larger bits of meat. So I recommend getting a thermometer to check the internal temps of any large chunks of meat you plan to cook. Cleaning and maintenance. The grease management system has a hole big enough to scrape small bits of food when cleaning. Lots of people worry about being able to buy the right sized foil trays to fit this system, but having used this and many other griddles, I don't think this should be a concern. Personally, I just use the non-stick grease cup without the tray. It's easy to clean after cooks along with other utensils I've been using, but if you really want an insert tray, you can simply make a foil boat from a sheet of foil yourself. Storage, lids and covers. The basic griddle doesn't come with any type of storage box, carry case, lid or cover. I have seen some stores offer specials where you can get a cover or lid with your purchase for a slight discount on buying both separately, but in most cases you will be just getting the griddle. The cheapest storage option is to keep the box the griddle came in. It's a very sturdy box and will be good if you plan to store the griddle away in your garage over the winter months. It's also handy to have to pack into your car if you're off camping or tailgating. Of course, no matter how well you look after the box, it is only made of cardboard, so you will need to upgrade at some point if you plan to travel with it often. The upgrade I'd recommend if you want to have the griddle as a portable option is a carry case, and Blackstone make their own carry case for the 22-inch griddle. If you don't have any storage options for the griddle over the winter or wet months of the year, I'll definitely recommend buying either a lid or a cover. For the cover, you can use any cover that you already own that is big enough to fit over the griddle, and then just tuck any excess material under the griddle feet. But for less than $20, you can buy the Blackstone cover that is specially made to fit the 22-inch griddle. The final option offered by Blackstone is the griddle lid. This is the best looking option and works great at keeping your griddle clean between cooks. But if you want something just to protect from the elements, I would go with the griddle cover. The reason is, the lid only protects the griddle plate and not the buttons on the base. What we liked and didn't like. This is more of a cons section than a pros and cons section, as I've already mentioned many of the things I liked, like the thickness of the griddle plate, the H-burners, the ignition system, the innovative grease management system, and the total griddle cooking area. The main con for this unit is the gap between the plate and the body. It is a large gap, and I've seen people complain that if it's a windy day, the flame can be blown out. meaning people have to buy or make a makeshift windbreaker. I have to say, it's not windy where I live, so I've not had to deal with this. My other complaints about the Blackstone 22-inch griddle is me just nitpicking. I mentioned already, I think the feet should be adjustable so that you can level the griddle on an uneven table. Another minor gripe is I'd say the buttons aren't very intuitive. I am used to turning things on and then carrying on in the same direction to get more power. With this griddle, you turn it on, and then if you keep going, you turn down the gas. I also think the griddle should come with an option on the gas regulator. I knew I'd not be using the £1 gas bottle right from the start, so I would have preferred to have bought the griddle with a £20 tank regulator and not having to buy it as an extra. And I know Blackstone has to balance the books, but I'd also like to have seen a cover shipped with this unit as standard. Everyone will need one, and they aren't that expensive. Classic griddle cook test. The most important question, and one I often see overlooked when reading reviews, is how does the griddle cook? It's all well and good having great sounding specifications and a wonderful looking unit, but if it's awkward or useless to cook on, then it's not worth buying. So let's do a roundup of popular griddle cooks and see how the Blackstone 22-inch griddle holds up. Smash burgers. The reason I, and many people I know, got a griddle was to make smash burgers. It's one of the most classic burgers and even seems to have gotten more popular over the last few years. What's so great about smash burgers? It's the crust that forms when searing the beef, known as the Maillard reaction. And griddles are great at getting to the high temps needed to make this happen. So how does the Blackstone 22-inch griddle handle smash burgers? I'd say this is what the griddle is made for. I made a basic smash burger with toasted buns, cheese, and a simple burger sauce made of mixing the three main sauces of ketchup, mayo, and mustard with a little bit of diced pickle and a spoonful of pickle juice. I'll be doing a smash burger tutorial soon, along with many other burger and barbecue videos. So if this is something that will interest you, give us a follow and hit the like button. I'm using the Lodge grill press to smash the burgers, and the Napoleon griddle set to flip them. I'll share all the links to the equipment in this video in the description below. Breakfast for two. When you wake up after a night under the stars camping and you know you have another big day of adventure ahead of you, there is nothing better than having a big cooked breakfast to send you on your way. Can the Blackstone give you this? To test, I'm going to make breakfast for two people consisting of 2 sausages, 2 bacon, an egg, potatoes and a pancake. Timing is key when making a meal with multiple ingredients, so don't be disappointed if you don't nail it on the first cook. But there is a good margin of error in using the 2-zone cooking method. On one side of the griddle, I'll have the burner on medium heat, and the other side will just be residual heat, essentially a warming station. Start with the big cuts of meat and the potatoes first, and then work your way down to the faster cooking items. And as you can see, the Blackstone griddle can easily handle making a cooked breakfast. Fried rice. I like to make fried rice as a side when doing a big barbecue. When you have more than 5 people coming over, you never really know how much to cook. So I find that doing the meats on the barbecue and having fried rice ready to go on the griddle as a filler for anyone that is really hungry is a great option, as fried rice is quick, cheap and tasty, and it's always hard to do barbecue sides without going into the kitchen. The demonstration I'm giving of how well the Blackstone griddle handles fried rice is a simple one. It will just be chicken, orange pepper, rice and store-bought sweet teriyaki sauce. The rice was boiled the day before and left in the fridge overnight. The Blackstone handles fried rice amazingly, and using a sweet sauce caramelizes the sauce for an amazing flavour. The only issue is a dish like this is a little harder to clean up afterwards. Final thoughts. Griddles have long been firm favourites of RVers, campers and tailgaters, but they seem to have taken their time becoming part of a backyard barbecuer's arsenal. With quality griddles like the 22-inch model from Blackstone, this is quickly changing, and I can see why. The variety of different cooks you can do and the speed at which you can do them makes a griddle a must-have for me. And the price you pay for what you get is hard to beat when it comes to quality outdoor grilling equipment. I'd happily recommend this griddle to beginners or seasoned pit masters.